İyi akşamlar. Good evening, everyone. Today we will be comparing and contrasting VHDL Verilog and SystemVerilog. So these three hardware description languages. So we will give some information regarding these three using actually the contents table of each languages, IEEE standards, and also we will try to using a few sources, a few, let me say, pictures, diagrams, kind of. We will compare, contrast them, and of course we will try to answer your questions. And yes, also depending on the questions, we may discuss those related items as well. So, okay, let me start with the agenda. Just a second. Let me fit this screen. By the way, Sayed, Furkan, could you please check the sound and video quality? So is everything fine? Okay, let me, yes, switch to the agenda. So this is the third lecture of our fully in English FPGA from zero to hero lectures. So agenda of today, first we will, as I mentioned, go through the contents of these three languages. IEEE standards, actually these are IEEE standardized, these documents, these languages. Yeah, VHDL, Verilog and SystemVerilog. So I started with VHDL on the top of other two, because for design and verification, mostly for design, but also for verification through nice methodologies like OSVVM and UVVM, it is VHDL is really popular in last 10-20 years. So yeah, we will discuss some details regarding that, why it is more popular in the world for design, especially for design. It is preferred. There are many reasons, but yeah, one of them is because it's a strictly typed language. So we will discuss a little bit, but that VHDL 1076 IEEE standard, it is approved in 2019. So we will start with that one. Actually, we will go through the contents. Then we will go through the contents of IEEE standards for Verilog. So it is 1364. That one is approved in 2005. So as you see, it is a little bit, compared to VHDL and SystemVerilog, it is a little bit old, but Verilog is also still popular. So yeah, it is a little bit tricky. It is last updated in 2005, but yeah, SystemVerilog is yeah, like Verilog is the father of SystemVerilog. So at some point, SystemVerilog became more and more popular, especially for verification. Yeah, as I mentioned, for design, VHDL is dominating, but for verification, SystemVerilog is dominating the verification environments. But also, as you see, in the third bullet, it is a unified hardware design, specification, and verification language. So it is really good for both for design and verification. But to be honest, not all it's a really complex one compared to first two. Let me say, you will also see the length of the documents are like 2 times, 3 times more for SystemVerilog. Yeah, because it is unified, as I mentioned, but not all EDA tools like Vivado and Quartus, not all features of SystemVerilog is supported. So it is not still supported very well. So yeah, of course, I am mentioning here the design commands, let me say. But for verification, yeah, it is widely used. So each year it is becoming more and more popular because you can do verification using SystemVerilog, using those embedded keywords of SystemVerilog. But also, if you use universal verification methodology, which is actually benefiting from many features of SystemVerilog, like object-oriented support, some other keywords, some other embedded constraint random verification features also, that's really talented assertion keywords, etc. But UVM is, yeah, it is not. If you learn SystemVerilog, you need to also spend many time on that UVM environment. Actually, UVM environment is really huge. So yeah, learning SystemVerilog is not that enough to be a good verification guy. So it's UVM. Those methodologies are a little bit yeah, they require experience, hands-on experience, also some years to get some expertise, let me say. As I mentioned, we will try to little bit compare contrast. So because it is not that easy to compare contrast each and every parts of these languages, but yeah, we will kind of first compare VHDL and Verilog because they are more usually used for design purposes. Then also we will try to little bit compare VHDL based verification methodologies like OSVVM, UVVM, and SystemVerilog UVM. But yeah, it won't be a long one because both options, VHDL based methodology and SystemVerilog based, let me correct, VHDL based verification methodologies and SystemVerilog verification methodology, UVM. So they have many pros and cons in terms of many things, like time to make them up and running, like the expenses of the environments, like simulation environments, the tools you are using, etc. So it is not that easy to compare them in detail. But of course, I have some basic comments. Also, depending on your questions, we may go through a little bit as far as I have some knowledge regarding that question. But if I don't know that specific question, I will try to guide you. So I will try to send some documents. Also, I may send some links so that you may get some answers through some research and some asking some questions to expert or guru level people on verification. Okay, then we will end up with wrap up and Q&A. I will check the YouTube chat window questions. But for the Q&A session, yeah, this is the short Q&A. Each Wednesday we are having the lectures, but each Sunday morning we will be having Q&A sessions. So I will also open Discord and make that voice chat available so that you can ask questions through Discord channel. Not only text questions but also voice questions on Sundays. So this is the plan for the remaining classes of this series. Okay, let me check. Is there any? Can we question you about different subjects at the end of the lesson? You may, but I would prefer to have some relevance, some relation with this topic. If it is completely independent, then you may ask through the Q&A session, because yeah, after these slides we will spend some effort. So also I worked today like 7-8 hours, so it would be much better to ask and answer other topic questions at the end of the Q&A session on Sunday. Okay, I think we are good. Welcome Kenan, Özkan, Seyit, Furkan. Nice to see you. These guys are, this guy had also attended our Turkish version of these classes. So thank you for listening to English versions as well. Don't hesitate to ask your questions. If you ask in Turkish, I will also try to translate to English. So okay, one question. Actually, we will try to answer this through this course. But Furkan asks, if you had a chance to start digital design from the beginning, which HDL you would choose? So I really love VHDL for design. So I started learning VHDL in 2009 during my second summer practice. There was a really nice Doulos booklet at Aselsan at that time. So previously, like, it is that they bought that training in 2005 or something like that. So as far as I remember, the document publishment date. So it was really nice. That document was really nice. So I will, during the towards the end of the class, also I will try to give you some tricks about learning these hardware description languages. But in terms of design, I am really happy with VHDL. So I learned at some point, I also start learning Verilog. Actually, it is not a big deal. Since both VHDL and Verilog, you are using these languages for hardware description. So it is V is a long-term abbreviation. HDL is hardware description language. So Verilog is also a hardware description language. At the end, through using both VHDL and Verilog, also SystemVerilog, if you use it for design purposes, you are somehow those, by using a keyboard, you're typing some text, and those texts are transformed to real hardware. So that is the purpose. If you, it doesn't matter if you learn Verilog first. Also, you will since you are learning many things about hardware description using Verilog. It is not a big deal. I think, yeah, you can you can learn VHDL really fast compared to first learning Verilog, and vice versa. If you first learn VHDL, also it doesn't take too much time to learn Verilog. But SystemVerilog is more complicated because it is, as I mentioned, it is like the Verilog is the father of SystemVerilog, but SystemVerilog has many nice verification-wise optimum built-in tasks and functions. Plus, SystemVerilog has object-oriented features, so they are really good for verification. But for design, you cannot use on FPGAs directly using hardware description languages those object-oriented features. So it is not supported like that. But depending on more detailed questions, if you ask more detailed questions regarding that, we may discuss on Sunday during the Q&A session. Okay, but I would, in short, I would go with VHDL. I am really happy with VHDL for FPGA SoC design. Okay, next slide. I need to, yes, change the, yes, position of my video. Okay. From now on, we will keep it on the right, top right. So, okay, this is that 1076 or 76 2019 IEEE standard for VHDL. So, that V is standing for VH SIC. As far as I remember, it was very high speed integrated circuit. Yes, it should be like that. Very high speed integrated circuit. But let me cross check. Yes, very high speed integrated circuit. And HDL, as I mentioned, hardware description language. Verilog is just Verilog. But also IEEE keeps its name like Verilog hardware description language. So as I mentioned, both are hardware description languages. Also, SystemVerilog is you can use for hardware description, but it is unified. We will go through that in half an hour or something like that. So approval date of this document, 2019 edition, as you see, the 5th of September 2019. So it is 673 pages. During while I am preparing these slices, I went through them a little bit. Yeah, I think I really love IEEE documents because and for the ones only knows the acronym, but yeah, doesn't know the open form of IEEE. It is the Institution of Electrical and Electronics Engineering, I think. Let me also cross check that one. Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, yes, IEEE. So yeah, this institute is really extremely high quality one. So I love its documents. Also, not only VHDL, IEEE standard for VHDL, but also Verilog and SystemVerilog. Those all three of these documents are really brilliant. So they are well organized. Many guru level, highly experienced engineers worked on them. So if you are using any three of these languages, I highly recommend you to read those documents. So okay, you may not understand each and every detail, each and every sentence. You may be lost at some subsections. It is quite normal. Even I am sometimes getting a little bit confused and I don't understand some details after 15 years of experience. So that is normal, because the writers, contributors of these documents are like really skillful, many years of experience, maybe some of them 20, 30, 40, I don't know, but I know, for instance, Jim Lewis is the IEEE VHDL chair. So yeah, I got many trainings from Jim Lewis. He's by the way, head of open source VHDL verification methodology, OSVVM. So other ladies and gentlemen that contributed to these documents, they are also really very, very experienced. So I really suggest anyone to read those documents as much as they can. You can. So unless you understand something, just skip it. Take some notes. Maybe you will ask those details to your team leader, to your colleagues, or your friends. So don't rush to understand everything. But that's 673 pages. It really deserves respect, and you need to spend some time on it. By the way, there are also, as you know, old versions of VHDL, like 1993, then 2002. Yeah, this is like each new document has that backward compatibility. Of course, there are additional features are there, but backward compatibility is also possible. So is possible. So it is not like that. What you learn in 2002 is not supported, completely not supported in the newer versions. If there are some features are not available anymore, they are pointed out. So for instance, as you see at the bottom on the right side, in this annex sites, actually there are many. Usually it is like an appendix kind of stuff we use also in our thesis or official documents, etc. So here, one of, for instance, those annex was changes from IEEE 1076 2008. So 2008 version of VHDL. By the way, 2008 was really important because some verification keywords were available. So with 2008 version of VHDL, so there are more randomization, constraint randomness, and some additional keywords are added. So yeah, in terms of verification, I think VHDL based verification 2008 was a milestone. So also there are some other features added as well. But if you read the latest version, you will get the knowledge for many major versions. So, but if you prefer, you may start from the earlier ones as well. It depends on your choice, on your preference. but I am going through the latest funnel almost all the time. So, by the way, these IEEE standards are not free of charge. So if you Google it, you cannot read them, you cannot download them free of charge. But many universities and many universities and companies has really nice deals, subscriptions with IEEE. So you can download these IEEE standard documents by logging in using your company email or university email. So then they are usually free of charge, or sometimes there are really good amount of discounts depending on the subscription. So, okay, contents. Actually, as we go through these contents, by the way, I little bit shorten it, so it is not everything, every sections here, but I got the major ones. But you will see in a few minutes, if you learn about these sections. By the way, each section has sometimes 10, sometimes 5, sometimes 20 subsections. So it is I have written only sections here, but you will see if you learn about this, actually you are learning really details about the language. So that is why also as you go through these documents, you are becoming aware of the fact that some of the second-hand information that you hear from your friends, your team leaders, your colleagues, they were wrong, because these IEEE standard documents themselves really clarify many myths, many things that are known as if they are true. So yeah, that is why, by the way, these are language reference manuals. So you should, if you are, for instance, not 100% sure about something, you need to find here. Also, as I mentioned, going through these sections and its subsections will be extremely beneficial and informative. So it starts with overview, then normative references, then design entities and configurations, subprograms and packages, types, declarations, specifications, names, expressions, sequential statements, concurrent statements. So these two are really important because, yeah, sequential statements, you know, the ones implemented almost all the time using flip-flops. The concurrent ones like lookup tables and multiplexers. So clocked elements are used for sequential statements. After writing sequential statements, they are usually mapped to clocked elements, but concurrent ones, so they are like latch, sometimes latches, sometimes lookup tables. It depends a little bit, but these for instance, these subsections explain about explain a lot about some myths. I mean, people think it is correct, but actually it is not. So there are many valuable information. There are too much valuable information in these documents in that sense. So you will really learn a lot. Then scope and visibility. design units and their analysis, elaboration and execution, lexical elements. It is like strings, like naming string-based elements, let me say. Predefined language environments. This is also important concept in VHDL. From this part, yeah, after these sections, that VHDL procedural interface, VHPI overview. After this section, yeah, this is the, as you see, this is the acronym, short one, abbreviation, VHPI. So it is VHDL procedural interface. So then this VHPI, there are many sections regarding that, that procedural interface stuff. Access functions, information model, tool execution, callbacks, value access, update, function reference. These are, there are many sections here about VHPI. Yeah, actually, it is good to mention that this VHPI stuff is not frequently used for design purposes, or okay, it may be used, but in many designs, ongoing ones in the world right now, even the cutting edge algorithms, technologies you are implementing, yeah, they are more using majority of VHDL 93, so it's like 1993 and 2002 features. Yeah, because that backward compatibility is really important. So it is not for design. Those EDA tools, compilation tools, they are not using that most recent language functions and solutions, let me say. They are more like, these are for staying up to date compared to other languages. So new interfaces, new functions, new models are defined. But to be honest, they are more frequently used for some verification purposes. So I don't use, for instance, for design, those access functions, VHPI callbacks, etc. But you can benefit from some of those features depending on your approach, depending on your tasks, let me say. I mean, what you are trying to implement or verify. Yeah, then there is the standard tool directives section, and there are those annexes A to J. So there are many, starting from the first letter of the alphabet, it is going to until J. So each are different subsections, as you may guess. So there are like guide to use of standard packages. So changed from IEEE 2008, etc. So there are many subsections, many annexes. So this is roughly the VHDL. So Verilog. Let's continue with the Verilog. Yeah, actually, the skeleton of the document is similar, yeah, because it is also IEEE standard. So, but as you see, Verilog also in the description of the document, it is added hardware description language, because it is not an abbreviation. There is no abbreviation of hardware description language anywhere. It is Verilog. So approval date, the 8th of November 2005. This is also close to 600 pages, so 590 pages. Contents, as you see, it is similar, like overview, Again, normative references, lexical conventions, data types, expressions, assignments. So each of these sections, also in the subsections, there are also some nice examples as well. So they are quite, by the way, important, because those the engineers that defined that had written these documents has picked those examples. So yeah, it is really nice to have some examples, some common usages, etc. through the document. So it is not like only defining something. There are also some nice usage examples, etc. Not only in the major sections, but also in the subsections and annexes. So data types, expressions, assignments, gate level, switch level modeling. So user-defined primitives, UDPs, behavioral modeling, tasks and functions, scheduling semantics, hierarchical structures, configuring design contents, specify blocks, timing checks, back annotation using the standard delay format. This is also nice, using this standard delay format. You can get some gate level, either gate level or after placement and routing PNR level delay input from Quartus or ISE or Vivado. So they provide those tools after synthesis and after placement and routing. Those tools like Libero, Vivado, ISE, and Quartus, they provide some standard delay documents. You import that to your simulation tool, and then you can do some after synthesis and after PNR simulation. So this is back annotation using the standard delay format. SDF is that. This explains the format and how to benefit from that, etc. System tasks and functions, value change dump, VCD files, compiler directives, again, like we had it in VHDL as well. Programming language interface, PLI overview. So also here we have some language interface, as you see. And there are also some more sections that all of them didn't fit into one slide. So I picked the ones I see more important. But again, there are many annexes for this one. For this document, it is starting from A to I. Yeah, there are many again. And for instance, I picked some examples, system tasks and functions. Actually, here it is a section, but in annex there are some more detailed information regarding them. So it is also in the annex. Encryption, decryption, flow, etc. So there are more stuff, more information at the end of the towards the end of the document, let me say. Okay, this is the Verilog contents of this 2005 IEEE standards. So let's go through the SystemVerilog one. The SystemVerilog is, as I mentioned, different from other two. By the way, it is 1,354 pages, so it is, as you see, much longer. Verilog it is two times more than two times of Verilog documents. And also, let's check, 2 times this. Yeah, this is also a little bit. Let's check. Yes, this is also more than more than the other one as well. So 2 times of 2 times more of the VHDL document. So it is really more complex because it covers functional coverage, constraint randomness, so some really important built-in functions for verification. So in addition to being hardware design, it is also a language for specification and verification. As you see, it is in the official document naming, it is unified hardware design specification verification language. So in that sense, it is more complex. Yeah, approval date this time the 6th of December 2023. So it is quite new. As I mentioned, it is 1,300, more than 1,300 pages. So let's go over the contents. Again, starting with overview and normative references. Then design and verification building blocks. This is really important because design building blocks, verification building blocks, they are kind of separated and explained in a well-organized way. Scheduling semantics, yeah, we remember this from Verilog as well. Since Verilog is the grandfather of SystemVerilog, so you see there are similar sections. So lexical conventions, again, data types, aggregate data types, classes, yes, object-oriented stuff has started, processes, assignment statements, operators and expressions, procedural statements, tasks and functions including subroutines, clocking blocks, inter-process synchronization and communications. This is really nice for verification actually. Assertions, checkers, constraint random value generations, functional coverage, which is the major concept of having a really high quality design if you can accomplish in succeeding functional coverage. Also utility system tasks and system functions, and since it is more than 1,000, actually 1,300 also, this is also a popular way of saying instead of 1,300 pages. Yeah, it's more than 1,300 pages. So there are, as I mentioned, similar to previous two, there are more sections. Also, you see this time annex is starting from A and going to Q. So more annexes. Yeah, like formal syntax, standard package, optional compiler directives, etc. So it's a huge one. For instance, if you start reading this document, it may take like weekly 2 hours of reading, 3 hours of weekly reading. You may end up in 6 months, 1 year. It may take too much time, but focus on the interesting sections. Pick some of them that are, for instance, constraint random value generations, functional coverage. Those concepts are really important. So you are not supposed to read it hierarchically. So you may pick some sections and go through them. And when you have more time, of course, I really suggest to read all of them. Okay, so it is like 7 to 9 p.m. here. Let's have a 10-minute break, and then we will continue with the slide containing some compare contrast terms, actually statements about these languages. Let's have a 10-minute break now. So see you like roughly 5 past or 4 past 9 or 10 if you're in Turkey. See you soon. Okay, we are back. Any issues with sound or video quality right now? Anyone on the chat? Could you please answer about that? If it is fine, I will continue with the second part of the class. Yes, here I will. No problem. No problem. Thanks, Kenan. Yeah, actually, I try to a little bit mention VHDL and Verilog majorly for design. SystemVerilog is majorly for verification, but you can also do VHDL based verification using OSVVM or UVVM or your custom company solutions. So it is possible, but more proper way, let me say, start with verification using SystemVerilog first. So SystemVerilog for verification, let me say, then using UVM, universal verification methodology. For verification, that is the proper way, but it takes too much time to do proper verification, not only functional coverage, but also code coverage, because in ideal world, if everything is going through the plan, so there shall be like 99% of code coverage and 95% of functional coverage for each and every design you have. But of course, depending on the complexity of the design, sometimes it is not possible, but yeah, maybe you achieve then the 90% functional coverage, 95% code coverage, etc. So it depends on the team decision and the available time, etc. So there are many constraints to do proper design and verification, of course. But yeah, I found on the web, I also tried to add their resources, the web pages. So I got some VHDL, Verilog, SystemVerilog comparison tables, but yeah, since I am usually using that my video on the top right, so I distributed them, organized this slide like this. But let's start with first with in terms of comparing VHDL and Verilog, there are three pictures. So let's start with the Verilog versus VHDL ones first. So then we will go through the triple comparison at the end. So let's start with the one on the left bottom. So like Verilog on the left column, you see VHDL on the right column. So it is mentioned Verilog is used more for ASIC designs, VHDL for FPGA designs. Yeah, this is also correct according to my experience. Of course, also Verilog is used for FPGA designs as well in some companies, but the majority is using, as far as I know, ASIC design is preferred for Verilog. For FPGA designs, VHDL is more preferred. By the way, there are really nice reports that are very well organized, and they are published. Sometimes I am sharing them on LinkedIn. Also, yeah, there are really nice electronics engineering websites like EE Times, for instance, they are also sharing those reports. So you can follow that kind of web pages, or you may benefit from the posts on the LinkedIn. Many other people are also sharing, so you may follow the trends of the languages for like VHDL, Verilog, SystemVerilog. So it is like each year, each decade, let me say, because decade is like 10 years. So also you may have some most recent ones to check how it is, how those tendencies are changing through the years, through the decades. So they are also quite helpful. So if you are not that sure about picking your hardware description language, you may also benefit from the ideas of verification gurus, design gurus, and also, of course, your experienced people in your company or in your university. You may get many ideas, but at the end, you need to combine them with your observations and make your decision accordingly. So it is not that good to just pick your design language depending on other people's call. It should be somehow, it shall be your team's, your company's decision at the end. But of course, sometimes you are joining to a company and it is already picked. For instance, VHDL for 30 years, they are doing VHDL design. So then you follow, of course. But sometimes also there are some startups companies or startups, or I talk with students and also like 0 to 5 year experienced engineers. They are also, for instance, they are working as 2 of FPGA designers or one of FPGA as one verification engineer. Then of course it depends on many other factors as well, because the purchasing power of your company, for instance, if they are really rich, then for verification you may go with SystemVerilog UVM. But it is not if you are supposed to use more open source stuff, then you may go with VHDL based verification, or you may go with also really nice improvements are being made. There is another open source free of charge solution, CocoTB, for instance. It is Python based. They also have really nice ready to use libraries. They are benefiting from Python libraries, Python language approach. So it is also object oriented. So you kind of model your VHDL design with Python or some other languages, but for simulation you are using Python. Yeah, in terms of like cost, like time required to make those environments up and running, yeah, they are really there are many pros and cons. But as you do some research, do some brainstormings, read those documents in detail, attend some free of charge seminars, webinars, etc., you will in years you will have a much better, much clear idea about these languages. So I recommend you to don't rush. So try to learn, work hard, but yeah, it takes some time to properly use these languages. It is not like in 3 months you can be really good FPGA engineer. It is not like that. So it requires some hands-on experience, some good team, good team leader, team spirit, also courage to learn and explore, etc. So it is combination of many hard and soft skills. So but as long as you search, try to learn, I think in like 2-3 years or maybe less, depending on your focus, you will get many answers regarding these hardware description languages, how to use them, how to, let me say, master them. So Verilog is weakly type, VHDL is strongly type. This is what I mentioned at the beginning. VHDL is like more strictly typed languages. So you, it is, if you're a beginner, it is much more possible that you will get many errors from the VHDL compiler. Since Verilog is weakly typed, it is like you get usually less errors, but it doesn't mean that it is good, because since it is weakly typed, sometimes that language, Verilog texts you write, are transferred to hardware in a different way. So being weakly typed, okay, it has some pros. Cycle time, development time is faster. So it is really good for simulation, because simulation you can foresee and see the effects much faster. But for design, it is tricky. So you should be really careful if you are using Verilog as a design language. So you may do some mistakes and you may result in some unexpected hardware behavior at the end. So in that sense, compared to VHDL, Verilog is more risky, let me say. So low verbosity, high verbosity. So it is like in VHDL you can add more verbosity levels, so like more severity warnings, let me say. So Verilog has less that features, but to some extent some reporting is possible in both. Partially deterministic, very deterministic. Actually, this is the kind of the result of being weakly typed, strongly typed, but Verilog is, compared to VHDL, less deterministic. It is more C-like. VHDL is non-C-like. It is actually, there is a language called ADA. So when I started learning VHDL in 2009, it was written that it is a new version of that language. So it's non-C-like. But for instance, if you are a software developer, because Verilog is closer to C, so probably as a software engineer or developer, you know C, because C and C++ still two most efficient languages for writing a code, especially embedded soft codes. So software, let me say, embedded software. So yeah, if you're a software oriented one, and if you would like to learn some firmware engineering, so FPGA engineering, it would be a nice point to start from Verilog, for instance. Then after you manage Verilog, then you can easily learn VHDL. But of course, there are some points you need to be careful. It is not that straightforward to switch to VHDL from Verilog. So you should be careful, but let me say it is not that hard. It's possible in a short time. Let me say in a few months, if you like after 2 years of good experience using Verilog, you can master many stuff in VHDL in like 6 months, let me say. Of course, it is something personal depending on your skills, your motivations, etc. But I don't think that it is tough to switch from Verilog to VHDL and vice versa. So another one, this one, the one in the bottom middle. Yes, this is we mentioned. V is very high speed integrated circuits designed for and sponsored by US Department of Defense. Yes, designed by committee. Yes, this is the actually this is the design of committee starting from 1981 to 1985. Syntax based on, yes, this ADA programming language, sorry, was made an IEEE standard in 1987. So as you see, 2 years after the work of this committee, it is made an IEEE standard. So this is the first one. Then there is, I don't remember if there is another version in between, but I know VHDL 1993 is very widely used still due to that backward compatibility stuff. And since it is well designed, those 99 features are majorly still used for design purposes. So they are really good. But of course, in time, some additional features are added. Like in 2002, 2008, and lastly 2019. Verilog HDL. Yeah, this is tricky, by the way. VHDL, you don't abbreviate. This is wrong. Yeah, this is not wrong actually. Verilog HDL is also VHDL, but it is misleading. So I didn't see this. I will remove. So it's called either VHDL. This one is Verilog. Verilog is also hardware description language, but if you abbreviate, it is also VHDL. So it is tricky. I will correct this part. Was introduced in 1985. You see, this is like similar times, 1980s. Gateway Design System Corporation, now a part of Cadence Design Systems. System Division, Incorporation, System Division, was made an IEEE standard in 1995. So it is like 8 years after VHDL as a hardware description language. You see, it took some time to standardize it by IEEE. So yeah, I mean, there is 8 years of difference. This is the first, I think it is the first release. I didn't cross check, by the way, but this is the 1995 shall be the first release of Verilog. By the way, all these documents, they are available. All versions are also available in our IEEE database. So they are scanned, all hard copies are scanned, and you shall find each and every version of these languages. Yeah, the last one is the same syntax based on C programming language like we see here. So the last one that comparing Verilog VHDL. Similar stuff, by the way. I just added since there are some additional information. And HDL used to model electronic systems. You see, this is like a more modeling language. VHDL, NHDL used in electronic design automation to describe digital and mixed signal systems, such as field programmable, gate arrays, and integrated circuits. So this is the first comparison statements for each side based on C, based on ADA and Pascal language. Yeah, I didn't learn Pascal, but I didn't know, actually I learned this one recently. VHDL is like Pascal language, so probably there are some similarities. Case sensitive, not case sensitive. This is important. Verilog is case sensitive. VHDL is not case sensitive, but since sometimes you use mixed language design and verification, sometimes mixed language design, sometimes mixed language verification, depending on your tool, on your design, on your requirements, etc. So I use lowercase while I am writing VHDL all the time. I just keep uppercase IEEE at the top of the code. You are adding those IEEE 1076 library. Actually, you are typing library IEEE and then a use statement for that 1076 standard library. And if you are going to do some mathematical operation, like also conversions from a standard logic vector to signed, unsigned, integer kind of comparisons with multiplication, summation, other arithmetic logic operations, then you are using numeric numeric library. So that is all. I am keeping only those IEEEs for those library IEEE and the use IEEE case. So because if you use some upper cases, lower cases, then it is getting complicated and misleading if you are doing some mixed language design or mixed language verification. So this is my advice for you. Always use lowercase. Never a newer language than VHDL. Yeah, it is like we see here. IEEE, it has become IEEE standards 8 years later, older than Verilog, less complex, more complex. Yeah, it is like you may get some relation between this weakly type and partially deterministic statements here on the left bottom you see. But Verilog, for instance, in Verilog you don't add libraries at the top of your code. So yeah, in future wise, I think that is right, because more features like supporting some mixed signal systems, some extra library capabilities. So VHDL is more complicated, let me say. But because it is strongly typed, so you get compiler errors if you don't follow some VHDL rules that explains that let me say designed by those committees that's explained in those documents. You are getting compiler errors. This is good because FPGAs are most of the time really expensive chips. So also the sensors and actuators you are using, they are also quite expensive. So that's why having that strictly typed, strongly typed, more deterministic hardware description language matters. That is why for design, actually VHDL is more preferred in general. But due to some reasons, as I mentioned at the beginning, Verilog may be preferred as well. So you may end up with exactly the same solution with Verilog like you do in VHDL. It is a little bit preference, so more like that. But as I mentioned, since one of the guys asked this question today, ask my preference. If I start from the scratch, from the 0 point, I would pick VHDL for design. But yeah, there are pros and cons, as you see. So let's continue with the last one. So it's the biggest one, including some statements, some similar kind of statements with different features for VHDL, Verilog and SystemVerilog. Okay, this one we had. Let's skip. Verify logic. Oh, this is good. This is good because verify logic. By the way, I am not 100% sure if this is correct, but I saw, yeah, this is Verilog. Verify logic abbreviation is Verilog. So yeah, I really recently learned that. Maybe I didn't know that because I am not a Verilog. I didn't start with Verilog language, but verify logic. As you see here on the right, NHDL used to model electronic systems, so it is used for modeling at the beginning. Let me say major, at the initial intent. Let me say they started modeling electronic systems with Verilog to verify the logic. So in that sense, they are consistent. But if this is not the proper explanation, just edit the comments. But it sounds well to me. Verify logic, Verilog. So ver, first 3 letters of verify and first 3 letters of logic. So this is, I learned recently. Maybe this is wrong. I couldn't verify this information. By the way, I also didn't read that IEEE Verilog document in detail because it is relatively old, 2005, and I don't use Verilog for design, but I can read and manipulate Verilog HDL, hardware description language. So yeah, depending on your focus. For instance, I checked more IEEE standards, SystemVerilog, because of those more features, new features for verification. So yeah, but if you have time, if you're new in your electronics engineering career, I recommend to check all 3. So it would be better for you, let me say. But if you already started working on VHDL, then focus on the IEEE standards 1076 one. Case sensitive, case insensitive VHDL is, but I mentioned I am only writing IEEE with uppercase. So SystemVerilog and Verilog case sensitive. Static and dynamic. So it is like dynamic allocation stuff, more C++ terminology. But you may check in detail by Googling how dynamic SystemVerilog is. It supports library, VHDL supports library elements, but Verilog does not support library management. It's SystemVerilog, on the other hand, supports it. So it's an added feature. This feature is added in SystemVerilog. Assigning of 4-bit register to an 8-bit register is a compilation error. Yes, this is because VHDL is strongly typed. Same thing is not a compilation error in Verilog. Also, it is not a compilation error in SystemVerilog. So in that sense, Verilog and SystemVerilog are similar. VHDL and Verilog does not support object-oriented programming features. But as I mentioned before, SystemVerilog does. VHDL, the original standard, it doesn't have functional coverage. Also Verilog doesn't, but as we went through the sections today, SystemVerilog has functional coverage, so it is quite important for verification. Yeah, that is why, by the way, it is preferred for verification, more preferred, let me say. But VHDL based functional coverage is also possible using some functions, some procedural statements, procedures. So somehow those embedded functions in SystemVerilog are similars of those are provided using OS VVM and UVVM. So it doesn't have functional coverage in the standard one, in the original one, but VHDL has that kind of functional coverage extension with OS VVM and UVVM. Yeah, there are like 10,000 lines of functions and procedures, so that make you available, that makes possible to some good level of functional coverage using VHDL. It does not support assertion-based verification for VHDL and Verilog. Assertions are possible in VHDL, but assertion-based verification is something else. So this has also started. Yeah, it is much better, let me say, in SystemVerilog, but with 2019 version also to some extent assertion-based verification. Yeah, we can say I think it is to some extent possible. Mainly used for design and verification of FPGAs. Yeah, this is similar, by the way. We saw that FPGA designs VHDL used. Here, design of FPGAs and SoCs. This is why I don't know why SoCs are added. So I may not agree with this one because SoCs also VHDL is used very extensively. And here it is said mainly used for design and verification, but yeah, I know that for verification its percentage is increasing each day, each year, each 5 years or something. But for design, I think VHDL is, due to these features we explained, VHDL is still more preferred compared to SystemVerilog, as far as I know. Also, this is my idea, my conclusion as well after these 15 years of experience. It does not support constraint random driven verification. Yes, this is similar to this one, functional coverage. So similar explanation I would go. So it is not available directly in the standards, but using those additional packages, additional libraries defined by OS VVM and UVVM guys. So it is possible to do constraint random driven verification in VHDL as well. So this is a little bit tricky. Yeah, Verilog does not support. Yeah, I don't know a Verilog. There are some tools that converts, for instance, your Verilog to a kind of C stuff, and a free of charge tool, open source tool called Verilator. For instance, if you have a Verilog design and if you write a simple C kind test bench, those Verilator, for instance, it can do some constraint random verification as well. So these are more like these statements for the standards, the original version of the languages, using some tools, some open source ones, some paid ones, some extensions. You may achieve some of these that are mentioned as if they are not possible here. So this is an important warning about this. And of course, SystemVerilog has, as we saw, there is a huge section about constraint randomness. So of course it supports constraint random driven verification. PLI supports, it does not support, it says, but for programming languages interface, that 2019 made lots of progress. Verilog and SystemVerilog, on the other hand, they support PLI. Yes, I think that's all for this slide. Let me check if we have any questions at this point. Yeah, I think we didn't get any. By the way, I will be sharing these slides tomorrow. I will little bit correct a few points. For instance, this abbreviation of VHDL, this is tricky. So this shall not be there like that. But I will share the slides on through our Discord, English and Turkish Discord channels, also LinkedIn. So please go through them if you would like to ask some questions. If you would like, by the way, you learn by asking questions really efficiently. So please go through them until our Q&A session on Sunday. So first I will go through the questions regarding these three hardware description languages. If there are no more, then we may go our in general VHDL questions. So this is our plan for this Sunday morning. 10 a.m. at Greenwich, in Greenwich Mean Time +2. So it will be the 6th of October, this Sunday. Okay, I think we are good. This is the end of the third lecture. We plan to have in total 30. So let me check if we have any new questions again. Yet still we don't have any. So then let's end the stream right now. I wish you a nice evening or afternoon if you're somewhere else in the West. Take care and see you. Hope to see you this Sunday. Bye bye.